Hello everybody and welcome to a Composr CMS development stream. And in today's stream we're going to be working a little bit on the cookie consent notice that is on Composr version 11. Particularly when you first visit a Composr website. If you haven't agreed to cookies yet, a little cookie consent banner will show up at the bottom of the page asking you to, well, not really asking you, but prompting you that cookies are going to be collected, and there's a button that you could click to read the privacy policy. This particular method of cookie consent, I guess you would say, is not technically in compliance with the GDPR, which is the General Data Protection Regulation, which is applied by the European Union. So what we need to do is we need to change the banner in Composr in order to operate on an opt-in system. So that's basically how it needs to run in order for it to be GDPR compliant. Essentially, instead of telling people that cookies are going to be collected in order for the site to function, it's going to ask the user if they want cookies to be collected. And if they decline to have cookies placed on their browser, then Composr needs to act accordingly and operate without cookies. Basically assume that basically operate in the same way that it would operate if cookies were not available on the user's system. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And just a heads up, I apologize in advance with the audio quality of my microphone. So you can't see it because I'm using a virtual VTuber avatar, but I have a microphone over here that I usually use that is high quality, but unfortunately the cable shorted on that microphone. So I need to get a replacement cable for that microphone. So today I am just using the built-in microphone on the camera, on the webcam, which I'm using to track my movements for the VTuber avatar. Anyway, enough of the technicalities and let's get right into it. So I'm running a localhost installation of Composr here. What we're going to do to begin is we're going to clear out the cookies, because as you can see here, we already have cookie consent cookies here. So we need to clear all of these out. We need to delete them in order to get our cookie consent banner back. So here's what it looks like. So it says site name uses cookies to ensure that you get the best experience. It has a read more link, which links you to the privacy policy generated by Composr CMS. And then it has an OK button. And like I said, that ain't going to do for the General Data Protection Regulation. So I'm not very familiar with the banner. I'm not exactly sure. I think it uses some sort of third party. So what I'm going to do, I think it uses some sort of third party library. Oh, there's a cookie consent JavaScript file. Okay. That'll give us a little bit of help into where we need to go. So we're going to load up Visual Studio Code here, and we are going to go into Themes, Default, JavaScript, and we're going to find cookie consent. There it is. It is a minified script. However, that is okay, I guess. Maybe. Are we going to be able to get an idea of what library we're using? I'm sure we could. Oh, hang on. Cookies and you. Nope, that's just to find out more information about what cookies do. let's go to, we have a file here called third-party code. You might be able to get an idea in here with the library. Here it is, Osano cookie consent. So this is what we're using in Composr. So we're going to go over to the GitHub repository for this library. And we're going to figure out how it works. What version are we using? We are using version 4. Okay. Okay, so what we need to do now is look within the Composr code to see where we're initializing the cookie consent banner. Here it is, right here. We are requiring, within our JavaScript framework for Composr CMS, we're requiring the cookie consent script or JavaScript. Okay, so let's modify this. We go to the full documentation here. I guess the configurator will help us. No. Let's go to the API documentation. Okay. It might be a little hard to see their examples on screen because their text size is kind of small on the web page. So we have the initialization. And we just leave those as default. Okay. Here we go. So we don't want dismiss. Wait. Yeah, we don't want dismiss. So we're just going to comment out that line. We want an allow property, and we want a deny property from the looks of it. Let me confirm. Yes, allow and deny. Let me look to see if we have language strings for allow and deny. Almost certain we do, but I'm not entirely sure. The VS Code search has been a little bit glitchy. There we go. Okay. I would assume it would be under global if we do have an allow string. We don't. So let's try this. Let's find the cookie notice language string, see where that's located. Oh, we are, okay. So we'll put a couple new language strings in here called allow cookies and deny cookies. Gonna have to put those in string scan. Those are user defined, those are user level, high priority for translation. And save. Now we're going to put those in here. So we're going to put those in our lang code, or our language string temp code syntax with a JavaScript escape character. That's interesting. I didn't know we had a get country function in our JavaScript framework. I'll worry about that later, but what I want to do is see if our changes took effect. So I may have to clear caches. Yeah, I'm gonna have to clear the caches. All right, that's a pretty simple job. We just go into the admin panel here, and we go under tools, cleanup tools, and we clear, once it loads, we're gonna clear the template cache. I'm a little concerned because it did this the last time. It's taking a while to compile. Yeah, that didn't work. Okay, why isn't it working? Let's search for the language string got it and see where that's coming from. It's coming from cookie consent. So it's not reading these options. All right, let's figure this out. I don't see any other place where it's being required in. It's literally just being required in directly via the JavaScript framework. Which leads me to believe maybe the options are not being, the options are not being defined correctly. This is very weird. Is there another switch that I need to make in the banner in order for the allow and deny to show up? What I'm doing is I'm uncommenting the dismiss. So got it is the default string within the plugin itself, or the library. for the banner. What I'm doing is switching or uncommenting the dismiss property to see if it changes back to okay, and it does. So that confirms content, properties of content are being read, but there's something else I need to do in order for allow and deny to show up. So I'm going to have to figure that out. So we need, like I said, we need the opt-in strategy. We don't want, okay, revocable. I'm curious what this get country function does. It loads symbols. So this is, okay, JSON parse CMS symbol data. Let's look up CMS symbol data. Symbol data as JSON, which is a parameter that is passed into this template. And here it is. I'm assuming country is one. Yes, here it is. Get country, which comes from locations, because we're using that fairly new library for PHP ISO codes. This is specific for the install. That's not going to work. We also need to know, we also need to geolocate country for the cookie consent. How are we going to be able to do that? Oh, wait, member ID equals get member, but that's always going to be that's never going to be null. Yeah, so this is redundant. Let's get rid of that. Actually, this, before we do that, this seems to be, okay. Current member. Yeah, so that's redundant, okay. if it is if it's not empty and we return country. Okay, I see what the problem is. We need to move this portion of the code down here. So this is for members. So if we were originally checking on whether or not member ID was null or not null, which was bad because this particular if clause would ensure that member ID is never null after this point. So what we really should have been doing is checking if member ID is guessed. So I'm not going to put it. I'm going to put my comment here. So if we are an actual member and not a guest, we're going to check to see if the country custom profile field has been filled in. If so, we return it. If not, then we geolocate the member by their IP address. I don't like this though. Why are we setting it to localhost if get member IP returns null? Anyway, we'll worry about that later. Let's do the guest version, which is just running the get IP address function. Fix my comments to be more concise there. All right, and then we don't need this portion. We don't need that if condition anymore because that was basically I copy pasted it up here. Okay, and then so we get to this point and we run geolocate IP on the IP address, and we find the country. All right. So here's my concern. That could be null. So let's close out of all of these. This could be null. Is that going to affect anything? First, I got to figure out cookie consent options law. Oh, here we go. We have country code. Oh, yeah, it does accept null. Okay, good. Rather than getting the country code from the location services, you could hardcode a particular country into the tool. Okay, so if it's null, then it gets it from the location services. That's fine. Regional law. If false, we only enable the pop-up if the country has the cookie law. We ignore all their country-specific rules. That's got to be true now because this is an opt-in strategy. Now, I don't think this is going to solve our initial issue, but it's going to prevent other issues. I'm going to just give a refresh just in case to see if it changed anything. Okay, nope, I did not think it would. But, like I said, that would have fixed something else. Now we got to figure out why the allow and deny buttons are not showing up. I still don't have my answer. Elements, layout, content. Here, let's go back up here. And it shows the revocable true. Maybe that's why we need. Maybe that's why it's not showing up. Let's see if that did anything. Okay, no, it did not. I don't think this is going to do any good either, but we'll throw it in there anyway. Oh, this needs to be true. But that's gonna break. I need to see if there's a function within JavaScript for finding development mode. Yes, is dev mode. All right, cool. We do have one. So we're going to use that function. If we're in dev mode, then we are setting that to false. Otherwise, do we want it like that? system mini kernel version, mobile, force preview, status code, page name, zone name, member, username, theme, language, country. Keep site name, base URL, custom forum, brand, cookie path, cookie domain, running script, CSP nonce, C JavaScript errors, char URL keeps, excuse me, page generation timestamp, page URL. Oh, but that's an actual URL instance. I'm going to go out on a limb and just leave this as false because the cookie consent notice is not storing any personal information in the cookie. So I really don't think it would be necessary to make it a secure cookie. And that'll especially break development testing. But I still can't figure out why it's not showing me the allow and deny options. Oh, that's weird. I think that came from cookie consent. Oh, we're going to have to add IP info into our trusted sites. ipinfo.io. Okay. Okay, so that's the trusted sites cache. So I'm going to have to remember to clear that. Get trusted sites. So that builds for trusted sites 1, trusted sites 2, allowed partner. Zone mapping, host name, custom base URL. Okay, I'm guessing I'm just going to have to create a hook in there. All right, sources, hooks, systems, trusted sites. Oh, we do have a core. Okay, and we are going to have to run cleanup tools on that. Clear our trust. I'm going to go ahead and clear template cache as well. Yeah, I know it failed. That's a Vivaldi, you need to double check your spelling. That was funny. A little typo there by Vivaldi in the console. Okay, this is interesting. I am not getting the cookie consent notice now. That's concerning. Oh, is it because... I don't know if this is the reason or not. Kind of playing around at this point because I still have no idea why this isn't working correctly. Okay, so we got our thing back, but we still do not have the buttons that we want. All right, so we got to figure that out. We have our allow and deny properties defined. We have our dismiss property commented out. We have revocable set to true. Am I missing something? Okay, you know what? I'm going to put this in here just to see what happens. Now we have no buttons. That's, okay. That's not what we want. Oh, the compliance type. Ha! I think I found it. Type. Opt-in. I don't like this. I want... Oh, I see. Let's do it this way. This is probably the easiest way we're going to be able to do it. So dismissing would be the same as denying cookies. Okay. We finally figured that out. Nice. All right, so we got our cookies, or buttons, rather. But now we need to extend Composr in order to work with the new opt-in strategy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in the code for where we look for the has cookies cookie. Okay, here's our function for determining if we have cookie support. Do I hear rain? Oh, that was weird. I thought I was hearing rain outside. Okay. So now we need to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually allow cookies here. There they are. All right, cool. We're going to look for cookie consent status essential. I guess we, okay. Do it like this. And we also want to make sure that it's set to allow. And not deny. I want this to override everything. So let's invert it. I changed my mind. I do want this to be false because I want it to override these. Until the next page hit after they accept cookies. Ooh, that's, nah. Will this return the result? We could do this. I mean, it's rudimentary. It's not going to be entirely accurate, but I wonder, do we already have a separate function for this? We don't. we're going to create another function. This is going to be specific for whether or not the user allowed cookies. And the reason why I'm refactoring this out into a separate function is I'm going to put this function, or this check rather, into not only the has cookies called, but also the CMS set cookie call. So we're going to put a condition there that's just going to bail out with false if the user rejected cookies. We're going to do a quick search here to see how we're using it. Okay. Now we're going to do the actual set cookie. Ooh, actually, that's a good point. Value could be empty. So we should allow being able to set an empty cookie. Kind of looking into how we use, because I know there are a couple of places where we don't use CMS set cookie and we use just plain old set cookie, and that may be a problem. Where are we using test? I may just leave that one alone. Okay, those are all CMS set cookie, which is good. I believe that's, yeah, that's within the CMS set cookie. Okay, what's this? Reprocess URL. Take a URL and process it to make a hard include. I guess we can make this more efficient by putting it up here. I think sorry about that, my thing froze. Oh, it didn't freeze it's just my camera stopped responding. That's weird. See if we can restart that. Didn't notice until now that the avatar stopped working. Alright, let's continue. So we're looking at these. Okay, we got an eat cookie. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Those are all fine. I really want to remove this from the PHP stub, because ideally you should use CMS set cookie. I'm going to put a to do. That'll be something we do later. Okay, so here's something we need to check into. Set cookie in JavaScript. There's a function, CMS set cookie, I believe. We just need to find it. There it is. Okay. That's a cookie conflict. Okay, we need to fix this for JavaScript as well. Session cookie brand URL, get site name, get private key, get country, get theme, get member, get zone name, blah 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 blah. Is a cookie login. His staff is guest, mini kernel version. All right, we're gonna do cookie consent. CMS free cookie, and then the name of this cookie, as we've been doing before. Type strict check on allow. If it's not allow, we exit. We don't set any cookies unless the value is empty. Nah. Should be this. Should be ORed. Inverted OR. Because if we don't have a cookie consent, then we should treat it as a deny. We should be explicitly checking to see if it is set and set to allow. And we're not setting an empty cookie value. This empty cookie value means that we're basically destroying the cookie. Okay, let's see what happens. What I'm going to do is I'm going to delete my session cookie and confirm that it gets reset. It does. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete all cookies and see what Composr does. Okay, I do not see any cookies being populated, which is good. Now, if I deny cookies and I start browsing around, let's see what happens. Ah, would you look at that? Composr went into its fallback system where it stuck your session in the URL. Okay, that's a hopeful sign. Let's do something now. Let us remove our backdoor IP line. I'm not worried about exposing database credentials because this is a local database that cannot be accessed from the external web. So, and I don't use that password for anything else. So do what you will with it. You can't do anything with it. And we're going to do a refresh. We're still logged in. That's good. If I were to get rid of the keep session, do I get logged out? I do. I think we did it. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and take a break for about 5 or so minutes, and when we come back, what I want to do is I want to take a look to see if maybe we should, I don't know why this is taking so long. I want to take a look to see if maybe we should re-prompt, like on a dismissal, in case if the member decides, oh, I actually do want cookies to be stored. I don't know yet. I'll have to think about it. But anyway, I'll check into that, and we'll also check into GDPR laws and see if maybe there are any laws governing like how often you can re-ask a member if they want to re-enable cookies. So we'll check into that as well. So we'll be back in about 5 or so minutes. we are back to our Composr CMS development stream for version 11. Oh, that should... I just realized something. That's the wrong version. That should be version 11 beta. That should say 11 beta 8. My bad. But anyway, we're working on cookie consent, and we had just finished it. So we have a Osano cookie consent banner in Composr version 11. However, it operated on basically an inform method, just basically telling people, hey, we're going to put cookies in your browser. But that doesn't fly with the GDPR. We have to use an opt-in strategy in order to be in compliant with GDPR and also a growing number of other data protection legislations that is coming out. So we're changing the banner to use the opt-in strategy and also ensuring that Composr CMS operates accordingly so that it does not rely on cookies, or it assumes that the cookies are not supported unless if we have an actual allow for the cookie consent status essential. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to consult Gemini here and see if it could give me a couple of sources to look up where we can find information about reprompting. In cookie consent notices, if a user denies cookies according to data protection laws, how often is a site allowed to reprompt a user if they changed their mind and want to allow cookies? Okay, so it's not necessarily defined. Okay, it must be just as easy for a user to withdraw consent as it was to give consent. So what that means is we're going to also need to be able to implement something in Composr that allows a member to withdraw their consent after they grant it. So that's another issue that we have, because once you accept cookies, I actually denied it in our test run here, but once you accept cookies, that pop-up's no longer there. You can't easily undo it without clearing your cookies, and that's an issue. Websites cannot use cookie walls that deny access to the site, which, yeah, we comply with that. While the GDPR doesn't set a specific time limit for consent validity, the ePrivacy Directive suggests renewing consent at least once a year. Okay, well, that's the default anyway in the Osano configuration. So I think we're fine there. So if we scroll up here to expiry days, their default is 365 days, so that works. Some local data protection authorities, like the Irish DPC and French CNIL, recommend reobtaining consent after no longer than 6 months. But it says recommend. Does it say require? In general, the CNIL suggests, not requires, but suggests, implementing a 6-month validity period before seeking consent again. All right. So it's fine. If the user denies cookies, the site should respect that choice. Reprompting immediately or too frequently could be seen as a dark pattern designed to badger users into consenting, which violates a freely given aspect of consent. So I'm guessing the way that we have it now is suitable because, I mean, if they... I'll demonstrate here. So right here, we allowed cookies. And we have a cookie that says that we allowed cookies that expires in 1 year. Now, if we get rid of these, reprompt, deny cookies, and then it creates the dismiss value. That also has an expiry of 1 year. So I think we're okay in that regards. Unlike the GDPR's opt-in model, the CCPA primarily operates on an opt-out basis for this. So that's California and USA for the sale or sharing of personal information, which could include data collected. Businesses must provide a clear do not sell or share my personal information link. No consent required initially for most cookies. Businesses generally don't need explicit opt-in consent to collect information via cookies. That's for the CCPA. 12 months. I'm leaning towards GDPR though, because I mean Composr CMS was originally a British content management system. So we're leaning heavily towards GDPR, which is an opt-in strategy, which is why we were doing this in the first place, rather than opt-out or inform. I'm actually going to put that as a comment so we don't forget that. Let's get rid of location. Now I need to figure out if there's a way that we could have, like, if you noticed during the stream, actually I could probably re-demonstrate for you. It's going to have to recompile the template, so I'm going to have to give it a few seconds here. Okay, if I were to click something over here, we have this tab that pops back up. I want to see if I could get that tab to remain up or something like that. See if there's an option for that. Header, message, dismiss, allow, deny, link, href, close, policy, target. It doesn't explain the it doesn't explain each option. Pop-up uses suspicious space. This option makes pop-up static, so it always displays at the top of the page height. We don't want any dismissing. Ignore clicks. Auto open. Auto attach. Override HTML. Callbacks. Well, since we're gonna have to get rid of that. Since we're in an opt-in strategy, we need a prompt no matter what location you're in, because if we don't prompt, then Composr is going to assume the user denied cookies, and then it's going to disable cookie functionality completely. But I don't see anything that would allow us to bring back. I'm not going to worry too much about it. I mean, the cookie expires after 1 year, which would then reprompt the user. And then if the user wants to change their cookie settings, all they have to do is clear their cookies for the site in their browser, and then that will bring the prompt back up. Now, does the read more link actually work? Yes, it does. That's weird. Okay. Keep session, there must be a caching issue there. I was taking a look to see when the keep session parameter would disappear from the URLs after accepting cookies. It doesn't appear to be right away, even after a couple of page hits. But then I looked at the menu and I noticed a few menu items had the keep session parameter located inside of them and others did not, which is weird. Anyway, I'm not going to worry too much about it. It is getting a bit late, so what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to call it here. We're going to go ahead and push our changes. Now, that doesn't belong in there. Okay. So, what we need to do, I am going to be using the push a bug fix tool within Composr. However, there's a bug in the bug fix tool that I need to debug while I'm pushing this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the HTTP file. Here we go, debug. Do I have, yeah, here, oh, that's response headers. Response URL, text right, F right, log file, log message, which is loggable date, serialized debug. We do have data. Okay. So we're going to go to the admin zone here. while that's loading, I'm going to log into Composr.app so I can get that tracker number for this issue. I'm going to drag that off screen so I don't expose any personal information or passwords by accident. Okay, so what we need to do is go to the tracker. This is the issue that let's double check to make sure that we completed everything that we logged. Under the GDPR, the freely given informed consent must be granted by the user before any cookies may be saved on the browser. They don't even have an opt-out strategy. Bundle the cookie consent banner as part of core privacy code. Well, I think we already bundle it. Oh, one thing that we didn't do that we really should be doing, I just now noticed this. We need to get rid of the cookie notice config option. I think. Actually, let's check into it. We don't use silk tide anymore. That's outdated. Yeah, let's get rid of the cookie notice. Configuration option. So we always have a cookie notice. Because, I mean, really, with all of the data protection legislation popping up. Oh, actually, that's the wrong one. Cookie notice option was the one that I needed to delete. Okay. With all of the laws being changed for data protection legislation, it's becoming more and more critical that sites prompt members for the cookie consent. And now that we've restructured Composr to be opt-in, which means it explicitly looks for that cookie that says allow, we have to always prompt for cookie consent in order for this to work properly. If you disable the cookie notice, then Composr is going to run deny for everybody, and that's not going to be good. So that removes the cookie notice configuration. It is already part of privacy. I just looked that up. Modifying is to click OK, sends an AJAX request to trigger a flag of Composr, allowing cookies to be saved. We don't need to do that. I think we can look for the cookie saved by the banner in each request to determine if Composr can send its own cookies. This is what we're doing. Make sure non-bundled add-ons like hybrid auth also comply. We technically don't support non-bundled add-ons like hybrid auth. I'm not entirely sure if I don't think I'm gonna go that far. All right, so I think we're pretty good. So 6231, what we need to do though, before we actually push the bug fixes, I need to enable the HTTP logger, because there's some sort of issue with pushing bug fixes to the home site. And I still haven't been able to narrow it down. And apparently it does save the response data into the log, and I didn't know that. Okay, now we could go ahead, once it finishes loading, we could go ahead and push this bug fix. All right, let's go ahead and do it. So this is tracker 6231 composr.app. We're just going to push core code. Cookie consent banner needs to use opt-in for data for GDPR compliance. It previously only used inform, which means Composr always uses cookies, and the banner simply told the user such. But this violates data protection laws. This fix ensures cookie consent has deny and allow options, and if Composr does not see the allow cookie set, it assumes deny and behaves as if cookies are not supported in the user's browser. This also deletes the cookie notice configuration option. Without prompting, Composr will always assume deny. So turning this off would mean Composr behaves as if every user denied cookies. It is best to prompt no matter what and get rid of this option. All right. This is core privacy. This was I think this was a minor. Oh no, this was a feature. Composr tracker issue 6231. Close the issue. Remote base URL. PD stig. Once again, I'm going to have to copy my password over. And we did test it. We're going to go ahead and proceed and publish this bug. So here's the tooth. So we need to figure out why it says that it fails to close the tracker issue and then also fails to upload the hotfix. Let's do a quick debug here. So there should be a data custom Oh, and for those just out of curiosity, so you know how the bug fix tool works, what essentially that does is it creates a git commit automatically. You don't see it in VS Code, but it is down here. It says one commit is ready to be pushed. It creates a git commit and then contacts the home site, so composr.app, through an API using my username and password that I typed in, and then connects it to the Mantis bug tracker to automatically post the information that I posted, including a link to the new commit. It's supposed to also upload a hotfix and also automatically close the issue, but I got to figure out why it's not doing that. It's there's some sort of error involved here. So let's look at HTTP log. Do we have data? Okay, yes, we do. It looks like we do. But it doesn't have, I don't think it has what I'm looking for. Yeah, it's not returning what that's not going to help. All right, we're going to have to debug that later. I'm going to go ahead and just manually resolve the issue. And we're going to push our fix. I'm not confident the way I typed that. I kind of stumbled on the keyboard there. And then these are non-bundled changes that I'm also going to have to commit separately for the same issue. All right. That about does it for today's stream, I think. We got cookie consent in there. It has been committed. And then I'm going to pull it onto composr.app because that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to do that and why I made that a high priority feature to implement. It was because I wanted composr.app to be compliant with data protection legislation. So with that being said, thank you everybody for tuning in to this development stream, and we will see you another time.